Self-hatred stems from a very deep-rooted issue that many people in our society are suffering from. And it is one of those things that creates the most problems, drama, the most unfortunate events that will carry over from one moment to the next, accumulating into basically a life that you don't want. And that often perpetuates more of the same feeling of self-hatred. So it's important that you knock out self-hatred as fast as humanly possible. And so what I want to do is I want to offer you some ideas, some things to help you think through the process of dealing with this self-hate and understanding how exactly you are to begin loving yourself. Now, self-hate can stem from a variety of things. It could be how you grew up, what your parents taught you, your upbringing. It can be the people you are around now, your environment. It can be the conversations you are having with yourself in your own mind. It can be simply due to a particular event, something that has happened to you that you just can't let go of and you can't forgive yourself for. And therefore, that creates a underlying current of self-hatred that you probably feel has gotten out of control. Ultimately, when we think about self-hate, it is often not related to the now. It is often not related to really who you are in this moment. And so in that statement, I've mentioned two things, not one, but two things. The now, right? Being in this moment, and who you are. I'm sure that when you think about the things that cause you to feel this self-hatred, it is in relationship to, or actually opposing, those two things in some way or form. Either you are not being in the moment, so you're thinking about something that happened in the past, and you keep thinking about it, which brings it into the current moment, which ultimately ruins the current moment, or you're thinking about who you were or who you wish you could be and not actually doing the things to build yourself to being that person, right? Because I talk about being the person you want to be quite often. And when I talk about it, it is in relationship to who you desire to be deep within your conscious, right? Deep within who you really are. The things that you desire to do, the things that you desire to manifest and materialize, the lifestyle you wish to have. And so when I talk about being someone else, I'm really talking about being your true self, being the person deep down within yourself. But if you're thinking in terms of who you were or what you did, then you are taking away the potentiality of you actually being your higher self, or simply being yourself currently right now. That being said, it can stem from ultimately not accepting who you are. Self-hatred or hatred of any kind comes from a lack of love. It is the opposite, right, of love. Hatred is the opposite of love. But when you think about it in a very spiritual way, like yin and yang, like cold and hot, like up and down, like the sun and the moon, right? Male, female, the opposites, the contrast of the universe is very important because without one, there cannot be the other. And within that, it creates a whole, it creates completion. So when you start to think about self-hatred, or you start to feel a hate for yourself or a dislike for yourself, remember that hate is the half, the opposite, the completion of love. They come together as a pair, as a complete set. So when you think about hate and now you associate that with love, it already begins to shift the way you feel about yourself. Now, recognize that they are not separate. We often separate them. We often feel like because they are opposites, they have nothing to do with each other. But in fact, they have so much to do with each other. The most important thing is recognizing who you are. The art of self-love is actually self-acceptance. When you accept who you are, and I'm not saying acceptance like, meh, it's okay, I can deal with it. I'm talking about an acceptance where you acknowledge that this is useful, that you are useful, that you can do things, that you can make do or do the best with what you have. That's the kind of acceptance I'm talking about. When you have that way of thinking towards yourself, then you can move in a whole different way. Instead of thinking in terms of, I'm useless, I can't do anything, I often make mistakes. First off, we all often make mistakes, even the most successful people. In fact, the more mistakes you make, the more likely you are to be successful. All right? That is one of the key components of wisdom and knowledge, is being willing to make mistakes and learn from them. So don't hate yourself for making mistakes. Learn from them and continue to move and grow. And that's how you begin the process of learning from the past, bringing it into the now, learning from who you were in the past, bringing it into the now and accepting who you are now, and then applying the idea of being useful to carry you through to the future, and thus creating the person and the life that you actually want. And this is how you begin to shed yourself of this self-hatred. Understand that you are beautiful, you are infinite. And so when you really capture that essence of acceptance, love, and being in the moment, being right now, then you can let go of everything else that creates self-hatred. Thank you so much. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.